Good evening. Dandavat to all the devotees. Welcome to all who've come to join us in the live version and the recorded version. And today I can actually really only see the live 5-dimensional devotees in front of me because let everyone see. But I'll see you on the Zoom a little later presently. But we're happy to see everyone on Zoom who's gathering together and already gathered together, a beautiful family of devotees and sincere seekers right here in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, London. Okay, so every evening in Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, Navadip, home base, Navadip, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj, then they would read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And today is the first day of our Śrī-Śikṣāṣṭakam series of 8 talks, where we are basically very happy to have an opportunity to share Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings as coming down through Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, and of course spread by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to all corners of the world. So, I understand that everyone who's enrolled on the course got one of these in the post, and in the digital post, which has in it it's got the first verses, it's got the verses, and it's got the translations. What?
You're bashing yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting your ear, the ear being the microphone. Anyway, you each got one of these in the post, which has got in it the verses of Sri Chaitanya, of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with the translation, with word by word, and with some commentary taken from the book Golden Volcano of Divine Love by Srila Guru Maharaj and Revealed Truth by Srila Gurudev. So I won't read this directly because you have this at home, and so this is yours to read instead of turning on the television, which I think most of you already threw out. But so anyhow, because the television just giving disturbance for the mind, but these kinds of things can give so much nourishment. So this is yours, it's a reference, you can keep it as a treasure. And today, as we would do in Navadip, or we would listen in Navadip, I'm going to read to you from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita because it's a great nourishment for us all. And of course, I'm going to read you a section which is about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explaining and relishing the Śikṣāṣṭakam verses. And what are the Śikṣāṣṭakam? Śikṣā-Astakam. Shiksha Guru, many of you know, but Shiksha means instruction. So Shiksha Guru is the instructing spiritual master, as Srila Prabhupada said about Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada said about Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rokho Sridhar Maharaj. He's my Siksha Guru, instructing spiritual master. But Śikṣā-Asṭakam means 8. So 8 verses of instruction given by Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu did not write many things, but this Śikṣāṣṭakam are 8 verses composed by him. And where do we find these verses in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? Where did Mahaprabhu relish these verses? It was right at the end of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, after all of the foundational discussion of who are the Panchatattva, who are including Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, and Srivas Thakur, and the devotees, understanding from the basis of what is Mahaprabhu Leela, and coming through so many pastimes, the very conclusion, the last chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, is Mahaprabhu in his highest transcendental ecstasy, coming and relishing these 8 verses that he'd composed. So I'm going to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And some of you are Bengali. Huh?
Which verse so we can send
Which
to the,
verse? There's a question.
and then we can send to the.
I was going to skip a verse or two along the way to keep it concise. Verse 100 of Antya-lila chapter 19, because chapter 20 is the last chapter, but we're setting the scene with chapter 19 because Mahaprabhu has been in extreme ecstasy beyond the description of words. But even with the description of words, then we are like astounded to hear of these ecstasies of Mahaprabhu. And for 12 years, Mahaprabhu relished the topics of Radha and Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, the pastimes in Vrindavan. He relished these while living in Puri, Jagannath Puri in India. But I better start reading because we want to use our time nicely. So Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, but those who know English can listen, and those who are translating, yes, it'll be very helpful for you to have this. So Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai, and Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, the author, ki Jai. And as Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj also himself repeatedly says, and at the end, again throughout Chaitanya Charitamrita, but at the very end of Chaitanya Charitamrita also, he again is stressing Jais to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, ki Jai, and Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, the book that he gave the world. And so Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj always giving that honor to Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. So there are some here. Who is Bengali here? You are Bengali. Oh, you lit up when you did this. Not Bengali. Anyway, oh, Bengali. Here we do have Bengali. And we have Bengali devotees and Bengali visitors who come, and online some Bengali. I will read you the Bengali, maybe not all the verses, because the time is short, I know. But I'm going to read from 100. Some Bengali and the translation. It's super wonderful. Those at home who do know Bengali, you know it's got its own extra added also feel, mood, and everything else within those words. Okay. Swarupa Ramananda Gaya Prabhunache Sukhapaya Emate Pratakala Hoila Swarupa Ramananda Raya Korinana Upaya Mahaprabhura Bhaya Spurti Kaila. So both Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy sang to the Lord, who danced and enjoyed happiness until the morning arrived. Remember, this is the end of the previous chapter. All sorts of things have taken place all the way through the night. But Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy would nourish Mahaprabhu with appropriate songs for his relishing the high pastimes. Then the Lord's two associates devised a plan to bring him to external consciousness. And then, now the next verse is Srila Krishnadas writing. Thus I, Krishnadas, the servant of Srila Rupa Goswami, have sung of 4 divisions of the Lord's pastimes in this chapter. The Lord's devotion to his mother, his words of madness, his rubbing his face against the walls at night, and his dancing at the appearance of Lord Krishna's fragrance, just getting some fragrance of the Lord. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus returned to external consciousness. He then bathed and went to see Lord Jagannath. The pastimes of Lord Krishna are uncommonly full of transcendental potency. It is a characteristic of such pastimes that they do not fall within the jurisdiction of experimental logic and argument. This we constantly hear. When transcendental love of Krishna awakens in someone's heart, even a learned scholar cannot comprehend his activities. And then a quote from somewhere, not sure from where, doesn't say. But the activities and symptoms of that exalted personality in whose heart love of Godhead has awakened cannot be understood even by the most learned scholars. And then, yes, then I was going to skip. Oh yes, if one, so I have skipped a couple of verses, we're on 109 because we're short of time. We're on 109 because we're short of time. And the whole of Chaitanya Charitamrita and almost all of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all in poetry form and giving the highest truths. And we, with our simple language of English, would not be able to communicate in any sensible poetry form if we were to be communicating together. So just see the standard of intellect of the compilers of the scriptures. So this verse I wanted to come to. Mahaprabhu Nityananda Dohara Dashera Dasha Jare Kripa Karena Tara Hoya Ite Vishvasha. That is, if one becomes a servant of the servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu and is favored by them, then he can believe in all these discourses. Just try to hear these topics with faith, for there is great pleasure even in hearing them. So Shraddha Kori Shunna Iha Shunnite Maha Sukha. This verse and the second line, that hearing will destroy all miseries pertaining to the body, mind, and other living entities, and the unhappiness of false arguments as well. And false arguments are unhappy. If ever you get caught up in some false argument and can't extract yourself from that association and somehow have to go through, very unhappy. So that second line, Kandibe Adhyatmik Adi Kutarkadi Dukkha. All of those miseries will go away. And then Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Nutan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ever increasingly fresh, ever increasingly new. It's all fresh. Shunite Juraya Hridaya Shravana. For one who hears it again and again, the heart and ear. Achha? Oh, Hridaya, oh, I see, Hridaya Shravana. The heart and ear become pacified. Hare Krishna, Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pare Jarasha Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishna Rasa. So that's the very end of the chapter 19. And why we mention this? Because Mahaprabhu is in that stage of absolute topmost ecstatic love, that was indicated by Ramananda Roy in the Ramananda Samvad that was so dear to Guru Maharaj. So in this topmost state, now we start chapter number 20 and a few verses. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, don't worry. But Chaitanya Charitamrita is very good for us. And the first verse of every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, I need to speak slower, right?
No, but are we then still in Madhya Antilila?
Antilila, chapter 20, verse 1. Yeah. Are you putting it on the screen?
I'm sending it to the translators.
The first verse of every chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita is an original Sanskrit composition by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, giving the humble invocation and indication of what is going to take place in the chapter. So his short Sanskrit verse. Oh, I'll give the translation first. You can think about that when you hear the Sanskrit. Only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy. But all these kind of words, envy, these are all in transcendental context, not in the mundane context. So anyhow, So only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic loving emotions. So this is like what's going to come. And the Sanskrit, premod bhavita ha sher shyod vega dainyarti mishritam lapitam gaura chandrasya bhagya-vadhir nishevyate. But now we come into the Bengali, and some of you know the next verse, or maybe, yes, Jaya Jaya Gaura Chandra Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, you've got all of that. E Mata, in this way, Mahaprabhu Boise Nila Chale Rajani Divase Krishna Virahe Vivale. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided in Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. Then Swarupa Ramananda, E Dui Jana Sane, Ratri Dine Rasa Gita Shloka Asvadane. Day and night, Mahaprabhu tasted transcendental blissful songs and verses with two associates, namely Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. Then Nana Bhava, various kinds of mood, motion. Nana Bhava, Utte Prabhura, Hasha, Shoka, Rosha. Dainyodvega Arti, Utkanta Santosha. He relished the symptoms of various transcendental emotions, such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, and satisfaction. I mean, ideally, you will have read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita by the time you came to this part, but we only have an hour. So we've come to this part with a good reason. I mean, I thought it's a good reason, to try to emphasize the importance of the Śikṣāṣṭakam verses that we're about to hear, because it is in this very highest of the highest, inconceivable time of Mahaprabhu's relishing, that he comes to relish these 8 verses, which we are engaged in hearing during these coming days. So then, next verse, translation first. It is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj writing. So he would recite his own verses, expressing their meanings and emotions, and thus enjoy tasting them with these 2 friends, Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy. So Mahaprabhu would recite his own verses that he'd composed. This is the Śikṣāṣṭakam verses, 8 verses. And that in Bengali, Se bhave nija shloka pariya, shlokera ata asvadaye dui bandhu loya. Then konna dine konna bhave shloka patana, se shloka asvadite ratri jagarana. And this asvadite, asvadana, to taste, comes up many, many times, tasting. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in a particular emotion, and he would stay awake all night, reciting related verses and relishing their taste. Then Hashe Prabhu Kohena, Hashe, super joyful, more than happy, Hashe. Anyway, very happy. Prabhu Kohena, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Shunna Swarupa Rama Raya, Nama Sankirtan, Kalau Parama Upaya. And some of you will get at least some idea of what Mahaprabhu is saying there. We'll give you the translation. Then you can hear the Bengali again, because it is fairly straightforward. I mean, we don't know the grammar so much, but everything is there for us to understand. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, My dear Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, know from me that chanting the holy names is the most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. So this came from Harshe, Harshe, Prabhu, Kohena, Shunna, listen, Swarupa, Ramaraya, listen, Swarupa, Damodar and Ramananda Roy. Nama Sankirtan, Kalau, Parama Upaya. So Kalau Nashdeva Nashi Kalau, in Kali Yuga, then this Parama Upaya, the topmost Upaya, way of coming up, Upaya, topmost, most feasible means for deliverance, we've got as a translation. Then Sankirtan Yagye Kalau, Krishna Aradhana, Seta Sumedha Paya Krishnera Charana. And this is Mahaprabhu speaking to his two most intimate, so many intimate associates, but the two who understand everything about Mahaprabhu's, you can say crazy if you like, but Mahaprabhu, what appears as quite crazy, but is actually the relishing of Krishna Prema. His two most intimate friends, he's saying this to. In this age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Medha, Sumedha, very intelligent this way. So that verse again. Sankirtana Yagye Kalau Krishna Aradhana. Krishna Aradhana, the process of worshipping Krishna. And Seta Sumedha Paya Krishnera Charana. You understand. I know you do. Okay, then there's the verse which is a famous quote, and it is Krishna Vanang Tvisha Krishnang Sangopangashta Pashadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayai Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. Again, the Sumedasaha, the very intelligent person. Quote, and from Sanskrit, in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So Mahaprabhu is given here as giving this quote himself. And now Mahaprabhu is still speaking, but he's speaking Bangla. We've got a better chance. Nama Sankirtan hoite Sava Anata Nasha. Sava Anata Nasha. Sava Shub, start again. Sava Shubhodaya Krishna Premira Ullasa. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be freed from all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of waves of love for Krishna. There we are. So sometimes the purports have a little, the translations have a little purport included, because you can hear the Bengali, Nama Sankirtana hoite Sarva Anata Nasha. Sava Shubhodaya Krishna Premira Ullasa. Hare Krishna, awakening all good fortune. Sarva Shubha Uday. And now verse number 12, which is verse number 1 in the book that came to you in the post, the first verse of the Śikṣāṣṭakam prayers. And really, who can introduce the Śikṣāṣṭaka prayers better than Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami? So this is why I've taken that liberty to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which anyhow is the evening reading in Navadip Chaitanya Saraswat Math of Srila Gurudev and Srila Guru Maharaj. So now we have the first verse of Śikṣāṣṭakam, the 8 verses composed by Mahaprabhu. Am I speaking too fast again? Are our translators alive and well? Okay, 1 is alive and well. 2 alive and well. 2 out of 4. Okay, 3. And how do you go? Okay, 4 are still going. We have to remember our translators, please excuse. Okay, so translators, you can have a little breath because, you can say together, you probably, all of the translators know this verse off by heart, because if we are to learn anything, if we can possibly learn anything, then these 8 verses, they are of course extremely good to learn because they're Mahaprabhu's own composition and so much stress is given here. So the first verse, this is Mahaprabhu, he's quoting his own verse that he's composed. And so we can say it together here. If you turn to your book and you have the verse 1, then we can recite slowly together. Many of you know this verse, it's very familiar to you. So the first verse of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam, Mahaprabhu composed and he is telling it. So slowly together. Ceto-darpaṇa-mārjanaṁ bhava-mahā-dāvāgni-nirvāpaṇaṁ śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇaṁ vidyā-vadhū-jīvanam ānandāmbudhi-vardhanaṁ prati-padaṁ pūrṇāmṛtāsvādanaṁ sarvātma-snāpanaṁ paraṁ vijayate śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. And we got Jais over on the far corner over here. And not only Jai, like paraṁ vijayate śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. Topmost victory, topmost glory to the Sankirtan, Śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. So, but we'll give you all of the verse translation. And there are different translations, because translation, but all with the same theme, different wording. I'm not sure quite what's on the board. What I have got here is, what's on the board? The holy name. Okay, don't worry, let everyone see. Okay, I'll read this too. So this is the translation that is also in the Golden Volcano of Divine Love, right? And in the Golden Volcano of Divine Love, actually this translation is in gently poetic form. Our devotees like to be poetic. And it's in gently poetic form, but it's not so easy to sing. So it's like this. So it is separated out a little bit. It can be sung, perhaps. Someone will have to pioneer singing it. I'll read it from the book only because it's got the line breaks in such a way. Okay, translation of the first verse of Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam as given in the Golden Volcano of Divine Love. They're moving the cameras around so somebody can see, because presumably the camera is going somewhere. There we are. So the holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart and extinguishes the fire of misery in the forest of birth and death. As the evening lotus blooms in the moon's cooling rays, the heart begins to blossom in the nectar of the name. And at last the soul awakens to its real inner treasure, a life of love with Krishna. Again and again tasting nectar, the soul dives and surfaces in the ever-increasing ocean of ecstatic joy. All phases of the self of which we may conceive are fully satisfied and purified, and at last conquered by the all-auspicious influence of the holy name of Krishna. Okay. amazing. I mean, this is the very first verse. And this verse, we are told, we've read authoritatively from our books, this verse, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told, should be preached everywhere. Preached, repeated, told, shared everywhere. This is a description of the holy name of the Lord and its effects, the effects of chanting the holy name, the effects of the medicine. If someone's going to take a medicine, if they're feeling bad, they want to know what are the effects. Well, Mahaprabhu is telling you some rather magical effects of the medicine of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So anyway, you don't have to read it, you can hear it. I'm going to read the translation one more time. The holy name of Krishna cleanses the mirror of the heart and extinguishes the fire of misery in the forest of birth and death. As the evening lotus blooms in the moon's cooling rays, the heart begins to blossom in the nectar of the name. And at last, the soul awakens to its real inner treasure, a life of love with Krishna. Again and again, tasting nectar, the soul dives and surfaces in the ever-increasing ocean of ecstatic joy. All phases of the self of which we may conceive are fully satisfied and purified, and at last conquered by the all-auspicious holy name of Krishna. Jai. And so we have a book here which gives you Srila Guru Maharaj's illumination on this verse, and we are here basically saying, read the book, I mean, read this, but to emphasize how we have got this fortune in Kali Yuga, the lead up to Mahaprabhu giving us this verse. He's been telling us in Kali Yuga, this is the process to chant the name of the Lord. And now, having said that, he's described what are the effects of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So now, I'm going to continue reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, because we're reading Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm not going to read a long way because we've got the other verses coming up, and we're going to keep that for our coming days, which are coming along. We have more to say on this verse from different places, of course. So I'm going to read Chaitanya Charitamrita a little bit. Mahaprabhu himself continuing to speak after reciting this verse. So it's verse 13.
Chapter 20, verse 13.
Chapter 20, Antya-lila, Antya, the last pastimes, the last chapter, and the last subject matter, almost the last, very last subject matter, is this Śikṣāṣṭakam. So how important is this verse and are these verses? So then after reciting that, Mahaprabhu says, I'll give you the translation first and then the Bengali, by performing congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. The verse that in Bengali, Sankirtana hoite, Papa Sansara Nashana. This Nasha, we get it all the time, is fully destroying. So Sansara Nasha, Papa Sansara Nashana. Then Chitta Shuddhi, Sarva Bhakti Sadhana Udgama, wake up. So Sankirtana hoite, Papa Sansara Nashana, Chitta Shuddhi, Sarva Bhakti Sadhana Udgama. Okay, next verse. Krishna Premodgama, Prema-amrita Asvadana. Again, taste Prema-amrita Asvadana. Krishna Prapti Sevamrita Samudre marjana. The result of chanting, this is Mahaprabhu he's explaining his verse. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and asvadana, tastes transcendental bliss. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in his devotional service as if immersing himself in a great ocean of love. Krishna premodgama premamrita asvadana. Krishna prapti seva amrita samudre majjana. Majjana, immersed. Then next verse, lamentation and humility. Oh, so this next verse is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, reciting, he's saying, about Mahaprabhu. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began reciting another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. Anyone has any unhappiness in their life? One only. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 120% of everyone present. They've got some unhappiness in their life. So now this is a preview for tomorrow, because you're going to have to come back to tomorrow to hear the how to forget all unhappiness and lamentation, because that's going to be tomorrow's verse. So in the meantime, we're going to come back to our first verse, to this first verse that Mahaprabhu gave, because there is much discussion in different places of our books, of Srila Prabhupada's, of our books means Srila Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj's books, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj's books, and Srila Prabhupada, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's books, all given in English, presented in English language. And we are told that the first verse is explaining that there are 7 effects of chanting the holy name of the Lord. And beginning with ceto-darpaṇa-mārjanaṁ. And then ceto-darpaṇa-mārjanaṁ, the cleansing of the mirror of the heart. So, it's me, sorry, not to touch. Closest to my heart are your ears. Let's see. Closest to my heart is the microphone right now. So, cleansing the mirror of the heart. The heart is considered like a mirror, with the example that a mirror, there's no mirror in here. Good. Mirrors are frightening things because you see your own body, you see what you're made of. Anyway, a mirror is covered in layers of dust. You can't see anything. It's just dust. It doesn't do anything. And the heart is likened to that in our material world. It's covered with so many layers of different types of dust. But if you clean off that dust, there's a mirror underneath. Say, oh, look at that. It's reflecting everything sweetly. So, cleansing the mirror of the heart. So just as a dirty mirror cannot reflect clearly, the conditioned heart cannot perceive reality until it is cleansed. So the first effect is cleansing the mirror of the heart. Then bhava-mahā-dāvāgni-nirvāpaṇaṁ. It's extinguishing the blazing forest fire of material existence. And a forest fire, if you ever see a forest fire, we saw in Australia, we went on a preaching tour in Australia with Abhinavasundar, Kalikanamba and a group of devotees in a bus with a trailer. We went on a preaching tour. And it was the hottest summer, just to make it more of a challenge. It was the hottest summer in recorded Australian history. And we were meeting everyone and seeing the kangaroos feasting on the golf course greens, because it was the only thing that was green, right? Anyway, the forest fires were raging, and a forest fire, everything gets burnt in a forest fire. And forest fire comes all around, and then the animals, etc., that are in the middle, there's no way out. They're caught in that forest fire. So extinguishing that blazing forest fire of material existence, it burns all around us and encroaches on us. And then we cannot survive it. There are no survivors. In this world, there are no survivors. You can see big castles made, built, so many empires made, but nobody's survived. It's a world where they say, take no survivors. We're on a sinking ship, and there will not be any survivor. Oh dear, that sounds sad. But it's the reality, and that wakes us up, that we have all of this going on around us, and there are no survivors except the devotees. The chanting of the name will extinguish that forest fire of the material existence. So we are not caught by all of this samsara, the birth and death, birth and death, birth and death. We will get the exit, which is what the human life is meant for. Not for just the animal propensities of life. It's meant to understand we are on a sinking ship. We are surrounded by a blazing fire which is coming to catch us. But there is a way out of birth and death. So it extinguishes the second effect. The next effect is extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. So material suffering is compared to a forest fire that appears unexpectedly and is difficult to escape. Okay. Then śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇaṁ, spreading the moonlight that makes the white lotus of ultimate good fortune bloom. And those of you who have been in hot countries, other than Hounslow in July of 2026, then you know that when the moon comes up, the moon is soothing at night. And so many nights in India, we've gone up on the roof in the evening time, and the sun's gone down, the moon has come up. You can feel that the moon is giving cooling rays. In London, I don't know if you can feel it or not, but in hot places. So this idea of the moon is giving cooling rays and nourishment to a certain type of lotus. There are different lotuses, or loti, whatever the plural of lotus is. Anyhow, and then this special lotus will be nourished by that moon. So spreading the moonlight that makes the white lotus of ultimate good fortune bloom is śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇaṁ. Unlike the day-blooming lotus, the white lotus opens under the moonlight, symbolizing how devotion unfolds gently under the cooling influence of the holy name. And Kelly wants to say something.
Yeah. That's your reading.
No. I mean, you can ask, but there's just some notes I've got.
Oh, okay.
But I'm meant to be reading from here.
No. I just thought that way I could tell the translators.
Keep you on your toes, the translators. So, śreyaḥ-kairava-candrikā-vitaraṇaṁ. Oh, well, here there's a long explanation. So this is kind of a short explanation of the cooling moonlight. So yeah, sorry, it's kind of a summary. And you do have this to read later. It's longer, and we don't have longer. Parikshit Maharaj only had 7 days to live. We only got an hour to live with it. So we have to do everything, We're trying to get through the processes of what happens when you chant the holy name. Okay, vidyā-vadhū-jīvanam. So what have we got here? Vidyā-vadhū-jīvanam. The holy name prepares us for the wholesale surrender to Krishna that is found in conjugal love, Madhura Rasa, where the devotees surrender themselves infinitely at the disposal of Krishna. You see, this is very confidential and secret. It's not, it's not an ABC thing. And this is presented by Mahaprabhu at the very last part, the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that part, we also just hold on our head and just say, okay, we read that translation. My. High things. Then ānandāmbudhi-vardhanaṁ, this part, increasing, overflowing, tasting it, increasing ocean of bliss. ānandāmbudhi-vardhanaṁ. And then, unlike ordinary oceans which have fixed boundaries, this ocean of spiritual joy is described as ever expanding. Ever expanding, and sometimes vardhanam is described overflowing. So anyway, ever increasing, ever expanding. Then prati-padaṁ pūrṇāmṛtāsvādanaṁ. At every step, tasting complete nectar. Every step, every moment, tasting complete nectar. Hare Krishna. We were reading, oh yes, anyhow, we'd better not go on a tangent. Sarvātma-snāpanaṁ, bathing the entire self. So the purifying effect reaches every part of ourself. And Guru Maharaj says, every part of our body, of our existence, of our consciousness, has its corresponding, fully satisfying part with Krishna. Everything is being bathed, nourished, purified, etc. So bathing the entire self reaches all parts of body, mind, intellect, and soul. And then the last line, after all of that, the last line, paraṁ vijayate śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. And here, before we came for the program, we were talking a little bit and about this line and just how wonderful this is, like supremely jai, supremely glorious, supremely victorious, glorious, victorious jai. All of this is śrī-kṛṣṇa-saṅkīrtanam. And Guru Maharaj says such wonderful things. It cannot be defeated by anything of this world and cannot be stopped. It will go on. It must go on. It is like the tsunami. You can put up a little wall around your house, but a tsunami, when it comes, it's going to come in. Maybe not here, because you're too far from the sea, but everyone knows about tsunami from the disasters that took place before. So here we have some notes, some idea, and yes.
You have 15 extra minutes for explaining more or questions today.
Oh, that's very good. We did something good in our lives. We got 15 extra minutes. We better use them carefully, right? I just wanted to read this. This is Srila Gurudev, and from affectionate guidance, and I can't put it in the chat box, but I'll speak slowly for the translators.
What page is it?
Ami Janina. But it's,
Okay.
you can search for is the gist. It's very short.
Oh, yeah.
I would just like to read a very short part. I mean, we can read longer as well, but I think we've got the gist. But I just would like to say that this is what Srila Gurudev, in affectionate guidance, he's also expressing in different ways, different places, different angles, to show what is the Śikṣāṣṭakam verse, how important it is. And then Srila Gurudev concludes with just a short paragraph saying, Śikṣāṣṭakam is the gist of all shlokas, of all verses, and in this first shloka we can see that everything is contained there. So Śikṣāṣṭakam, the 8 verses, is the gist of all shlokas, and in this first shloka we can see that everything is contained there. That is the living conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The living conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All this has nothing to do with, as we read from earlier today, just now. It's got nothing to do with intellect and argument and everything else. It's to do with life, living. And it is the living conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Srila Gurudev says, who has the eyes, he can see. Ajnana timirandasya. We say it twice a day, at least, in glorification, in prayer to the Guru, the taking away our ignorance, removing that. So ajnana timirandasya. This is the main thing that we need. So that through love and hankering and through the mercy of Krishna, you can reach the service plane of Krishna. And what service plane we read? Ānandāmbudhi. It is the joyful service plane. Ecstasy service plane. And then Gurudev saying, it is hard to leave the plane of exploitation. And the plane of renunciation is very harsh without the mercy of Krishna. Exploitation may be hard to leave, but we hear in different ways. Renunciation, the idea we'll renounce everything, that's more harsh, more difficult. So it is hard to leave the plane of exploitation. And the plane of renunciation is very harsh without the mercy of Krishna. But the third option that you can do with your life, exploit, renounce, or dedicate. The greatest thinkers and greatest experiences of life, they put just 3 things you can do with your life, essentially. You can exploit for yourself, for local interest, extended local interest. You can retire knowing, or you can try and retire knowing that every action has a reaction which binds you here. Or the third option you can do with your energy is to dedicate. So harsh, where are we? Harsh, so renunciation is very harsh without the mercy of Krishna. But dedication, the plane of reality, Gurudev is saying, can clean us. Dedication, the plane of reality, the real plane, everyone is dedicated. They're not exploiting, they're not renouncing, they're dedicated. It can give us a higher, authentic position in the transcendental world. This is the plane of dedication. So the holy name, the effect of the holy name is to bring us to that plane of dedication where everything is ever new, ever fresh, ever alive, ever expanding, and it is the absolute home of the heart. And what?
Perfect.
And here in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math, London, each morning we've been reading from the Loving Search for the Lost Servant. And even when we weren't in London just recently, we were reading from the Lord's Loving Search for the Lost Servant. And actually, when we came back, we were in the same place. So we were reading at about the same speed. And we've been reading the section which really fits in so perfectly with this from the Lord's Loving Search for the Lost Servant, yes, the book, and about the holy name and what is the holy name, the content within the sound that we hear. And so there is so much that is given by word and given by writing by our masters to encourage us to see what happens when you chant the holy name and what is the holy name. That how we will chant the holy name, how we will chant the proper holy name and not our imagined name, but what is the reality name, all these things. And I suppose I should stop here now, and we should ask for questions. And if no one has any questions, I can say some more things. But we're on the Zoom, and we're on Zoom, and so it is an opportunity for everyone to react, to ask a question. And Kelly Kadamba and Rasmai Pandit and Abhinava Sundar here, they are the directors of our Zoom on this side of the world.
So we did receive a question on the Zoom from Mukunda Prabhu. He's asking, in reference to the cleaning of the heart, is this a simile for cleaning the soul?
Well, the soul is always clean. It's just covered. And the heart, yes, the heart is the feeler. I really don't want to analyze too much, Mukunda Prabhu. I know you're very brainy and you've got lots of questions, but the difference between the heart and the soul, ultimately, the heart, the soul is the heart. What is our identity? We are the living person within, that's all clean, and that means the soul. But definition, I'll let you meditate. Let me know next week. Let me know in the middle of the week with an email. But heart is referring to our feeling part, and ultimately our feeler is us inside. And so us, the deepest us inside, it is the soul. And Srila Guru Maharaj is saying that by this cleansing, it is like removing a layer, very gross layer, another layer, another layer. And the cleaning of the Gundicha temple, again given in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, then there is some example given that Mahaprabhu's cleansing of the Gundicha temple and his showing the devotees how to clean the temple is an analogy, but a living activity for cleaning the more gross dirt, the finer dirt, and then the polishing part at the end like this. So this way, when we clean off all these layers, which are maybe unlimited practically, because maybe no one can count so many layers, but anyway, all these layers, what is left behind? What is the exact thing that's left is the soul, the clean devotee, the person. And the nature of life is activity, the health, the proper nature of life, the reality of life is dedication. So I don't want to analyze too much about what is the English usage of heart, except for pumping blood around the body, but the heart, the feeler of that, ultimately it is the soul. But at the moment, we are a little far from fully, being clear to understand, oh, I am not this that I'm feeling now when I put a pin in my hand. This is feeling, but it's not heart feeling. And not only that, it's told that the great souls, Prahlad Maharaj has given us our very beginning of pure bhakti. You can do anything to Prahlad Maharaj. You can stomp him with elephants, you can throw him off a cliff, you put him in fire. He is completely separated from this. So,
yes, we have one more question online, and then we have one here in person.
okay.
This one came through first,
Yeah.
so we'll
also ask
and then
tomorrow.
yes. Shama Priya Didi has a question, and she starts off as follows. My humble obeisances, Maharaj, and all dear devotees. I have a question regarding ignorance and the knowledge that the Guru gives. I have met many people who, in their search for guidance, immerse themselves deeply in knowledge. At first, this seems like a great blessing. However, over time, I have noticed that sometimes knowledge itself can become an obstacle. Instead of helping a person realize the truth through the heart, it remains only on an intellectual level. In such cases, knowledge seems to interfere with genuine surrender rather than nourish it. How can we share this taste that we have received with those who have been lost in the books?
According to the person, the circumstance, you will approach them. And this is the question, one of the questions. I mean, how do we make it clear to others that love, beauty, sweetness, satisfaction, pleasure, if you like, that inner fulfillment, that is the goal of life, along with an eternal life. So in some ways it's very simple, but actually here, what we read somewhere just very recently here, those who have the eye to see, they will see. And the idea of any knowledge is to put into practice. But just to read books, we also hear from Guru Maharaj directly that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who gave us Krishna consciousness in this present age, he did not encourage reading many books. He encouraged doing service. You now have the knowledge, you should chant Hare Krishna, and in this particular way, and that you should be with devotees and do service, to do something. And that the reading side can be an obstacle, indeed, as you are expressing. So we learn we should be vegetarian. Okay, become vegetarian. We learn we should chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. We learn we should learn the 10 offenses and avoid them. Well, learn the 10 offenses and avoid them. And we should learn we should meet with the devotees and try to make them happy. It means try to help them, whatever is needed. Come to the temple, paint the walls, not the windows. Paint the walls, clean the windows, and do the things which are helpful. And ask, what can you do? And this way we come into the plane of service. And it's affectionate, loving service. It's not book matter. And we've seen that much study can be confusing because it is acknowledged that the scriptures give different directives in different scripture, and it's according to people in different time, place, and circumstance. Many of the circumstances have no application today. Try sitting and meditating for 10,000 years and see whether it will work. I mean, it clearly won't work today. So now we've got, what have we got? The holy name, and especially the holy name in congregation. So how we will convince others, it is a problem. And I mean, it's a problem, but it's what Mahaprabhu said, whatever you know, tell others. It's good, okay? Chanting Hare Krishna is good, tell them that. But getting lost in books, it is very dangerous, because then you choose which part you're going to accept, which part you're not going to accept. And we've seen devotees also doing things which, it says in the book, do this, and they're doing. And Gurudev, why are they doing that? And rather we have our direction from our masters. What is the practical guidance from all of the scriptures? You can't do all the guidance, otherwise, like Parikshit Maharaj, who had 7 days to live, he's getting guidance from however many different people, the heads of, and sincere, serious leaders of different philosophies and teachings and practices. But which are you going to choose? So we need to come to the conclusion, and the conclusion in Kali Yuga is to chant Hare Krishna, associate with the devotees, help the devotees. So again, we can think of Gurudev and say, try to, with affection, to deal with everybody, and those who are very much into books, try with affection to show some things that Gurudev has said, Guru Maharaj has said, like we are sharing bits and pieces that have given us some inspiration. And If it gives you inspiration, it may well give them inspiration too. But reading the books, we know it is dangerous, and we've seen genius capacity persons be completely misled by reading books and selecting some idea, making their own decisions. The decisions have been made. The books have been read. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, they've all read. They know what's in the scripture. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj knows very well what's in all the scripture. So let's hear their conclusions. Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, write in our own language. Sorry, those who don't speak English, but in the Western world language, which is, fairly straightforward. When we say the sky is blue, we think, well, the sky is blue. But it seems to be that in some other languages, then you can take other meanings from the sky is blue. Luckily in English, we can understand the sky is blue.
There's one more question.
But Shyamaprita, to have goodwill for others, this is very good, and not necessarily to use a lot of your energy on a tough nut to crack. And those who are more kind of open and eager, use our energy there. Guru Maharaj is also very practical like that.
Can I ask a question, Maharaj?
Yes, that's why you have a microphone.
So I'd
you
like
can
to ask you, what are the different stages of the holy name and how to chant offenselessly?
Well, we just heard the 7 kind of effects of chanting the holy name. This we've just heard. And so we can do a little revision here in Guru Maharaj's words and Gurudev's words. This is taken from Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. And so basically, the effect of chanting the holy name is a miraculous transformation from our mundane consciousness and our mundane repetition of birth, death, old age, disease, accidents, and everything else that can happen at any moment. I saw the tiles on that house next door. They're just ready to fall off. Somebody walks underneath at the wrong time. Oh, karma just came and bit me. So, accidents happen at any moment. Our life in this world is temporary. The holy name can take us from this temporary, inevitably temporary world to the highest plane of the highest department of Krishna's, the Lord God's land of beauty, sweetness, and love. So in a quick jump, that's the holy name. It's miraculous. It can do everything for us. And it is the yajna for Kali Yuga. And yajna means we are doing some yajna. We are giving something. Another definition of yajna?
Sacrifice.
Right, sacrifice. That's exactly the word I'm looking for. We're sacrificing our time and our thought for Krishna Nam. We're sacrificing in that way. And so this is the yajna for Kali Yuga. If we do it, if we take the medicine, sometimes given as medicine, aushad, then the medicine is given for our curing, so we take it and we will find out. And the point about the 10 offenses is, first of all, be absolutely fluent to know what are the 10 offenses, and then address each offense, you can say every day, and try to see where we stand, and try to improve our conditions, see what is wrong in us, and try consciously, go forwards with our eyes open, and go forwards following the directions that are given to us. And basically the very first instruction given to practically every devotee is, here's the holy name, chant like this, learn the 10 offenses and avoid them. So we need to revise what we learned, many years ago, and what we remember now. We must always keep revising, keep our feet on the ground. We know we have to attend to these things. Keep our feet on the ground, and we are looking upwards to the land of joy, beauty, sweetness, and love. The holy name is your friend. and is everyone's friend. Anyway, today is like the introduction to the Śikṣāṣṭakam and the first verse. I've been asked to say a few words. I'm happy to do so. And now our extra 15 minutes is up. So we better chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Srila Bhakti-Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki jai.
Well, the Jais are to the source of pure devotional service. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Bhakti Rockop Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Who has composed song after song, book after book on this very matter of the holy name of the Lord, the mood of chanting, what the name does for us. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sometimes told us the origin of this wave. A wave, there's a dip, a wave, a dip, and a wave. This wave of worldwide Krishna consciousness, the re-cleansing or the refocus of Mahaprabhu's teaching. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur sometimes given us that origin, which Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur then continued, and through those who came to speak with that same voice as Srila Saraswati Thakur, headed by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, who brought us this. So big jais to our Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga, big jais to Nityananda Prabhu, to Mahaprabhu, big jais to Sri Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, and big jais to all the devotees. I was going to say sincere devotees. All devotees are sincere. All big jai to all the devotees ki jai. Assembled devotees ki jai. Now I can see you on the big screen. Hare Krishna. And you've almost all got your cameras on. Well done. Somebody's trained you all very well. Okay, very good. Now all of you have your camera on, 100%. Oh, there's another page. Okay, wonderful.
Can we read out their names, Maharaj? Is it okay?
Yeah, you may read out the names, but jai is to the Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Śrī Śikṣāṣṭakam ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.